Some things or people don't ever change. Today, I'm going to tell you about that person you've been trying to change for years. Stick around. I'm going to let you know exactly what you need to know about changing others. Hello, hello, hello. You are listening to the Manifest on Purpose show. I am your host, Kimbaley. My inspiration is to help you become the best you that you can be, and that should be pretty easy. As I'm recording this morning, I'm thinking about something that I hear many people say. They say if you do something that you love to do, you never work a day in your life. And today I just had the realization that I love doing this. Recording the Manifest on Purpose show is probably one of the most exciting things that I do throughout the day. The reason why is I get to share my experience with others like you in a way that may help you change, in a way that may help you grow, in a way that may help you aspire to something greater in your life. And as you can see, I'm not short of experiences. There has been a lot of experiences in my life, and instead of crying over spilled milk, I have decided to become an alchemist, to take those experiences and turn them into some positivity to help other people, to help humanity. So I just want to let you know that I'm happy today and every day that I can record and share something special with you. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Thank you also for sharing this with others because you never know who may need to hear the episode that you are listening to. And thank you also for subscribing here and on the website at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. And you know why I do all of this. It is only because the God in me loves the God in you. Now, we're going to talk about change today, and it's probably going to be in a way that you're not used to hearing it. But you know, I have to give it to you real here on the Manifest on Purpose show. But before we even get into that, we have to hear our astro-numerology forecast for today, courtesy of astro-numerologist LLoyd Strayhorn and the Star 8 mobile numerology app. It is Monday, July the 15th. The sun is in Cancer, the moon is in Scorpio. It's a 6 universal month, a 9 universal week, a 3 universal day. This is the perfect day to put your best foot forward where social engagements and the like are concerned. Chances are you may meet or either be referred to someone who can make your life a little easier, especially in forms of monies, gifts, or favors from others. All you have to do is do your part should you be a part of today's equation. Expect those under the zodiac signs of Sagittarius, Pisces, and those born on the 3rd, 12th, 21st, 30th of any month to find this day more to their advantage. Once again, that is the astronumerology forecast for today, courtesy of astronumerologist LLoyd Strayhorn. You don't have to wait for me to give you the forecast for the day. You can get your own forecast by downloading the Star 8 mobile numerology app. You can get it on Google Play, the App Store, you can go to Linktree/numbers in you or a star 8 ASTAR the number 8.com and get your download today. What personal cycles are you experiencing that's causing some of the change in your life? What I've noticed for myself, whenever there's a change, I always look to my personal cycle and I can see exactly what's happening in that period. I will know whether I'm in an opposition period, whether it's a period that I should be cautious in, or a period that I should take action in. And you too can do the same thing with your astronumerology forecast for the year. You can get that report at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. And while you're there, you can get your personal report so that you can get to know more about yourself. You can also get a compatibility report to learn about the relationships in your life, not just your intimate relationships, but all of the relationships in your life. And you can also get your business reports so that you can know the cycles that your business is going through. You can get all these reports and more at Kimbaley, KIMBALEY.com. Now, let's get back to the show. I spent countless days and nights in the old refurbished store listening to things that I could no longer identify with. It was the last straw. The baby bird was flying away from the nest. No church, no pastor, and not even my mother could stop me. Here's the backstory. I like to look at my spiritual journey as a buffet of life. I've gone through a lot of my life experiencing different religions, schools of thoughts, modalities of spiritualism, and metaphysics. I eat the meat and toss the bones, as one of my Caribbean sisters sometimes say. I keep the things that can benefit my life, and if it doesn't apply, I let it fly. Ages 16, 17, and 18 were pivotal for me spiritually. Prior to those ages, I was taught Christianity in multiple denominations. Outside of that, I was exposed to Jehovah's Witness school of thought. However, most of my family leaned towards Christianity, and that is what I was taught to be. Primarily because in the area that I was raised in, other religions or schools of thought were unheard of. Fast forward to age 16, a whole new world opened to me. I met a friend that began teaching me a different perspective of life. I look back now and realize that it was just one of the few teachers that was placed into my life to change the direction or the trajectory of my life in a way that led me to my spiritual purpose in life. This teacher began giving me what he called knowledge of self. I was then quizzed on these fundamental lessons before I could move on to the next set of lessons in which I also committed to memory. I had a reading list that I went through pretty quickly, and slowly but surely, an addition to my personality emerged. I was becoming more aware, my diet changed, and even the way I viewed the world had changed. The young lady who had been taught Christianity for all of her life at that point had found the teachings of Islam in a rural southern town beneath the Bible Belt. I stuck out like a sore thumb and was even teased when I refused to eat pork. But no matter what, I stood on my new principles that I had just learned. Church became more unbearable each time I went. It was my mom's rule that I had to go as long as I was under her roof. I often felt out of place while attending these services. This must have went on for nearly 3 years. I was forced to listen to what I no longer identified with. Things changed though when I turned 18. I started going out and partying. Ma still insisted I be at church for every service, even after those party nights. One night, I partied hard. I partied all night long. I hung out until about 5 a.m. having drinks with the girls. When I finally snuck back into the house, I slipped right into the bed to get some sleep. I was startled to hear my mom's voice a few hours later. She said, "Wake up, time to get ready for church." Uh-oh. From the sound of her voice, I knew she knew what time I got in that morning. I then told her in my sleeping voice, "I'm not going to church this morning." She replied, "If you don't go to church, you have to get out of my house." To that, I replied, "Okay." She said, "Okay, what?" I said I wasn't going. I would get out of her house. She said, "Okay, be gone when I get back." And just like that, I was gone. The baby bird was kicked out of the nest. More like thrown out of the nest. I knew I always had a home with my grandmother, and the rules were a lot less strict there. Eventually, my mom and I made up, but not without a lesson learned. What my mom and I learned through each other and that experience is you can't change others. The only person you have the ability to change is yourself. For some, this is a tough pill to swallow. Change is something that everyone must go through. And it is important to know that change can't be forced by you or anyone else. The source of creation already has that taken care of. Personal change requires personal will. My mom was passionate about her church. Me, on the other hand, wasn't. I had to go against my will. A word to the wise: there may be people in your very own life, your children, your parents, significant others, and even friends that you feel could be doing better if they would just change their ways. Be careful with that. Resist the urge to change them simply because you can't. All you will do is make them bitter and rebellious to change. Sure, you can make suggestions now and then, but don't bug them about it. The way to see change in others is to cultivate change within yourself. You have to be the model. Yeah, I know, and it's okay. You only want what's best for them, and that's understandable. Most of the time, these are your loved ones. But you have to understand that number one, that's judgmental. And number two, what qualifies you to determine what is right or wrong for another person? Accept the fact that when you attempt to change someone else, you attempt to change their individuality. And that is not fair. The way to look at it so that it feels closer to home to you is to imagine someone trying to change you or make you go against your will. Essentially, it's just like that person telling you that they know what's best for your life better than you do. Let that sink in for a moment and then think about this moment every time you attempt to change someone else. Each and every person's journey is totally different. Each person's journey is designed to take them through lessons that leads them to their personal purpose. Look at it like this. When you attempt to change a person, you're attempting to change their destiny. The reason why that is so important to know is because each person's destiny changes our world in a small way. Some things or some people will never change unless, of course, they're ready. My mom and I found this out the hard way. Neither of us were backing down. I was standing on my principles and she stood on her principles. But at the end, neither of us changed until we were ready to change. My spiritual journey had to happen. It made me who I am. For some reason, I feel that I must have known that during that time. That's why I was not willing to change, to go against my principles. I know a lot of people may say, wow, she left home because she didn't want to go to church. But the fact of the matter is, it was less about going to church and more about standing on my principles. In fact, I have been to several churches since then, and I still stand on some of those principles that I learned in Christianity. After I got the meat of Islam, I tossed those bones too. I kept the things that resonated with me and I moved forward to learn something else. As for my mom, she continued going to church until her demise. My grandmother even told me in secret that my mom called her and felt guilty for kicking me out because I didn't go to church. After all that went down, I wasn't bitter at all because at that point I understood that I couldn't change my mom, and even though she was my mom, she couldn't change me. Not at that stage in my life. Besides, mom only wanted what was best for me, not understanding what was best for me to her wasn't necessarily best for me. Have you ever done that? Look around at your family members or those that you are close to. Are there things that you want that you feel are better for those people? Things that those people may not necessarily think is best for them at that moment, or things that they may not be able to shake at that moment. Just understand that the universe flows in perfect order. When it's time for something to change, it will change. Let others change naturally, not against their own will. When a person decides to change outside of their will, this is why sometimes they may revert back to the same behaviors because they were not ready yet. It is not up to you to determine when someone else is ready or what's best for someone else. There's two things that I want you to do when you feel like that there's someone in your life that needs a change. First of all, know that they already know they need to change. And when they're ready, they will change. It's not up to you to force that change. Your role is to promote a positive environment that's conducive to change, to become loving and supportive so that this person will move towards that perfect flow. And number two, when you feel so compelled to change someone else in your life, look at yourself first to see what changes need to be made within you. Spend that energy on changing you to grow into the person that you need to be. Change is necessary, but it's not up to you to determine when someone else should change. So, how do you change people? You don't. You just be patient, supportive, loving, and allow them to change themselves. I love you to life. This is how you manifest on purpose.